Hey!
Hey!
Happy Monday, folks. Welcome to the dungeon. Cooldown. Is tech working?
Welcome to
Can
the
you
dungeon.
hear everybody?
Cooldown. Is tech working?
I can hear us.
Can you hear everybody?
Cooldown. Is tech working?
I can hear us.
Yes, okay. Everything's working. There was a slight echo for a second because I needed to make sure I could hear myself. Hi, lovely people.
That's a win right there. The fact that we were able to start the cooldown and there was no problems. I mean, that's
we've
just
been
huge.
doing the cooldown for almost a year. And one of these days we're gonna get it right. Anyway, Hi beautiful people, happy Monday. Welcome to the Dungeon Cooldown. I'm Morgan Peter Brown. This is the beautiful and talented Jared Kajak.
Oh, why, thank you.
Always. Yeah, how we doing? I'm seeing some new people in chat. What's up? How is everybody's weekend? Johnny Valentine 7. Hey, first-time viewer or first-time chatter, and Kelsey R. Kenval. What's up, folks? This is our companion show to the Dungeon Run, if you don't know already. And let's see. We are here to...
I really want to know, is there anybody in the chat that's watching that doesn't know what the Dungeon Run is? Because that would be shocking if people are just tuning in to watch two dudes chit-chat about something they know nothing about.
If you're a TDR casual, this cooldown is going to be rough for you, because we are going to dive deep on some puzzle stuff. Hey, Agito17. We're going to dive deep on puzzle stuff. I love white guys talking. Thanks, it's Basil Time. Yeah, welcome to the internet. Oh goodness. But yes, and so because we are gonna
I have strong opinions, and I'm gonna tell you my strong opinions.
I have strong opinions about nerdy things, i.e. the internet.
And I refuse to listen to anyone else's opinion. That's what this show is about.
Oh my goodness. But we've got some amazing questions from our patrons. We'll take some questions from you from chat, and we're gonna dive deep on
no questions, just opinions. My opinions.
And listening to nothing else.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. But episode 113 was our longest to date, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
It was almost 5 hours. Get it with those opinions, Jared. Fail Waffle, don't encourage him. Oh my goodness. Judo Killa says they finally caught up to the current episode. Just found out its ending. Yes, we only have 2 episodes left of our Heroes of Bingle campaign. It's not to say we won't come back for little mini things later on, but a week
you just gotta hope that Jeff loses his job, and then he'll be coming back in a heartbeat.
Jared. Don't wish ill upon things. 115 episodes, over 400 hours. It's been, I've said it many times, but I'll keep saying it. It's been one of the coolest things, maybe the coolest thing that I've ever been involved with creatively in my life. And
super creative. It's a creative sandwich.
It is a creative sandwich.
Chips.
This is true.
Some spicy creative mayo.
Very true. Sean0418 says, what, you guys need to be in the episode 113 puzzle room, not in here. I know, right?
Yeah.
So
Morgan hasn't slept, you guys.
I was gonna say, if I look a little tired, I have been.
I haven't slept either, but for completely different reasons.
That's correct. I have been poring over the puzzle. Since I took like a day and a half. I didn't really start looking at it until midday Friday, and then my weekend was completely filled with it.
People want to see coffee table. I think you should take a picture of your coffee table.
I mean, I've shown people. My wife helped me by creating basically like little paper Scrabble tiles of the anagram of Fardinald Ertinfert, and so it's gonna be bananas. But because if you haven't seen I'm just making a ton of assumptions, but at the end of an almost 5-hour episode on Wednesday, it ended with a massive puzzle being dumped on us by Fardinald Ertinfert. And
I was expecting the watchers to go nuts in Discord. I was not prepared for the level of commitment in Discord. There are so many posts.
Of posts.
It is a novel on a single riddle.
Thousands of posts. Show pics. I can show pics of, at a certain point yesterday, I was so out of it that I was just making jokes and getting, like, I realized that you could make them to go, free TDR NFT? It's like, Jeff's giving us a new way to finance the show through NFTs. No, that's not it.
That was the secret all along.
And then another one was, if land rad, enter Rift. It's like, if the land is rad, we just have to have a rad party, and then we'll walk right in. That's what'll unlock it. Yeah, boy. The bulb dim says, all I can say is I could stare at this puzzle for 1,000 years and not get it. My brain does not work this way. Here's the thing. I love crossword puzzles. I love word puzzles. I'll straight up admit,
shocking.
Anagram.
Shocking.
Thank you. Anagrams are not my strength. They are not. I don't know. There's something about how rearranging letters work that it's almost there's almost too many. It's too wide open, and so I'm just gonna.
There should be an app for that. Is there an app for anagrams?
There are some anagram generators on the internet that I may have used in the last 2 days. A little bit. I need help. Now it's not solving anything for you, because that's the other thing too is, this anagram generator doesn't have any idea of the context of the show.
Yeah. I asked a couple people at my work. I was like, hey, you guys get an anagrams? And then I told them about it. And then I mentioned the whole Inter-Rift thing. And they were like, what? And I go, yeah, it's, fantasy. It's the D&D show that I do. And they're just looking at me like I'm crazy.
That's been our last 3 years, though, Jared, is trying to explain to the people in your life that don't watch the show how investing it is and how into it you are. And I'm sure our community can relate. And, you try to get people invested in the show, and sometimes you do. And but like, it's, talking to my therapist about my D&D show, I do it a lot. And he fully knows now. My therapist is fully in on, like, he knows what he doesn't know everything. I haven't.
He should watch the show. He should be like a dedicated viewer at this point.
He's one of those pretty guarded guys that even if he did, he wouldn't tell me. I don't mean that.
That's a smart therapist.
He's a smart therapist. Yeah, he kind of keeps it. But I haven't like gotten into explaining the how great old one warlocks work. We haven't gotten into that completely.
So Hadrian X put, I attempted to explain our puzzle discussion from Friday to my girlfriend, and ... I learned she loves me a lot.
Aww.
That sounds like my relationship with my wife.
That's correct. That's right. And we thank you, all of our spicy spouses and partners who support us, even if we look like complete mad people the last week. Oh my goodness. I can't imagine what it's been like for Jeff to watch.
Oh, I'm sure he loves it.
To watch us, and I think he loves it, but I think it's also driving him a little batty, because we've gone down
in the Discord that somebody got it, like somebody actually figured it out. But then there's so much other like chaos happening in the post. It's like, well, somebody got it in the last 1,500 posts.
We've gone down lore rabbit holes. We've posted multiple clips from past episodes. We've gone back to first time we met Ertinfert was episode 3. We've gone back to Ertinfert. We realized in episode Human Mama, which I think is episode 86, we realized that Lesliana says that Ertinfert is not his name. She said something along the lines of whatever name he's going by now. And it was like, whoa, which makes sense, by the way, that his name is an anagram used to solve this puzzle, which means it's not his actual name. So he changed his name to just be an anagram to solve the puzzle to this lock, which
he's actually, out of everybody, he's going to be literally the hardest to make sure he's dead permanently, because he can clone himself. He obviously doesn't care if his clones die.
There have been
like Yanmo and Ashen Mage are one shots, but
right.
You get to Ertinfert and it's just like he could pop up at any point.
There have been other characters like this in like comic books, and I'm trying to think of other things where it's just like you can't ever be truly sure that you've killed him because who's to say that there isn't just a clone in a closet somewhere who's who's just waiting.
It's like the lich that has the phylactery, or the homunculus or whatever, and you kill the main figure, or the vampire, you kill the vampire, but then it goes back to its coffin, or its its secondary body or whatever, and then just pops into another figure and comes back out again. It's the impossible to kill bad guy.
Who else? Elliot says, like an organic Ultron. Ultron is exactly who I was thinking of. Yeah, where it's just sort of like, as long as there is a cell of him that survives, he will be able to regenerate himself somewhere else. And that's...
We'll just have to kill Dahlia and then wish for Ertinfert to never exist, and that'll fix everything.
That's so awkward. Okay, so let's put a pin in the puzzle for a moment, and let's actually talk about episode 113, because a lot happened. Believe it or not, that puzzle was only the last 5 minutes. So much happened. We met Dahlia, and
she's literally got a heart floating in space inside of her chest, which is super cool, super creepy, and I love it. I think that was my favorite part of the episode, was that little twist that we quickly brushed over.
How Jeff used the wording of the wish to kind of be so specific. It's with Fahima's heart, and literally this heart,
burning heart in the middle of her chest.
Fiery heart in the middle of her chest. Oof. Yeah. Kudos to the lovely and amazing Jessica Lynn Parsons, our friend, but always it's so nice to be impressed by your friends. And we said this to her after the fact. It was like, Jessica helped us as performers, because Dahlia does feel like a different person.
Oh yeah.
And we haven't really had time to deal with it, to reckon with it yet. But
even when we got in the fight, she wasn't blowing everything up with fire spells.
Right.
I was like, oh yeah, because it's not Fahima, it's this half blue elf, half Fahima hybrid thing.
This presence is very different, and it's strange. It's very strange, and so it in a way, the thing that I've sort of realized and haven't really had time to address in game is that it's going to start. It makes you realize that Fahima is gone, and that's really sad. She's not. She's there. I saw someone else mention this, but the closest thing that I can reference it to is spoilers for Star Trek Deep Space Nine. But Deep Space Nine is one of my favorite shows of all time. And there is a race of aliens in there called the Trill, that are a symbiosis of a host and exactly, as you see where I'm going, who else, Elliot, where they're a symbiosis of a host and a parasite in the middle of them. And the host will die, and then the parasite moves on to another person.
Yeah.
And so what happens in the last season of Star Trek Deep Space Nine is you've had this character who was with them for, hundreds of episodes, who dies, and then she comes back as a new actress and a new character, and she's not the same person. She's just got all of her memories, and she's got kind of her heart.
Right.
And they deal with it beautifully in that too, because you have her ex-lover that's not really her lover anymore because it's a different person, all this stuff. Yeah. And so, and dealing with the grief and loss, it's sad. It's sad because it truly does. You truly start to realize that even though she's there, Fahima's gone. And that's sad, man.
I think gone is a strong word.
Right.
I would say permanently changed.
Yes.
Because if she was gone, then we wouldn't even have Dahlia, and we wouldn't even have the memories of Fahima that Dahlia has rolling around inside of her head.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I definitely think Fahima in the form that she was is gone. And I think it's going to take a while for people to kind of
digest that
still in the middle of this epic battle, fighting for the world divine and trying to, stop this ultimate evil. So we don't really have time to process that.
Right.
That being said, I do feel like Jessica has a huge challenge in front of her, is how much of Fahima sneaks through, how much of Fahima is there under the surface.
That's a really fun performance challenge, I think, that I think she's really going to embrace. But it is jarring. It is jarring to the rest of us because, you've got this. She knows everything that Fahima knew, but it's not quite her, and so it's beautifully murky in that way. And you're right, she's not gone, but she's so different that it's undeniable that it still feels like you have a loss. You've because she's not back.
Right.
And we did what we did for good reason, to hopefully help us resurrect the Blue Elves, to help them. But it's a bummer, man. I mean,
Black Symbiote is saying, you did live with Dahlia for many days on the shoulder of the warden. I don't know if we really had a lot of bonding time.
No.
We were literally holding on to this thing as it lumbers across multiple miles.
You don't have a lot of heartfelt conversations when things are like this the whole time.
Yeah. Ugo did process a little bit when he started crying and saying that she's gone. But I think gone is too strong of a word choice.
Right.
I really truly feel like Fahima is still there in some form. Mm-hmm. It's just morphed.
Right.
But the same thing could be said for James if he ever goes full demon. Right.
It's true.
So, and that's something that we've been struggling with now for how many episodes?
Right.
And we still haven't figured out a solution to.
Right.
And now we're actually using that to our advantage by possibly sending James into the void.
Yep.
Because he's the only one that can go without going insane. So had we cured him, we wouldn't even be able to do that.
Right.
I mean, that's a whole nother,
Yeah. It's one of those beautiful things about conflict and storytelling, is that if it's all bad, there's no conflict, right? And so if being the warlock of Shothragott sucked that bad, James would have no reason to keep going.
Sure.
But the power was so good, and what we were doing was so strong, was so important, that James just needed to keep going and would handle it later. And then
Just Jules put, I'm terribly curious how things may have been different if Fahima hadn't been the one to go into Ereban's room.
Just Jules,
I was gonna go. I was gonna jump through and go talk to him, because I wanted to talk to Ereban as well for lots of reasons.
I will tease this.
The reason why we're there was because of Fahima. Fahima wanted to figure out what was happening with her dad. Now there's a million other things
totally
that
made sense
could have been able to help us with.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It totally made sense to send her in, but I have had that question, Just Jules, multiple times. And I'll tease this a little bit. 2 weeks from today, the Monday after the episode 115, we are going to do a cool down with all of us. We're all going to be here, and I am already starting a list of questions for Jeff. Now, I'm sure there are certain things he won't be able to tell us even then, but that is one of them, which is...
What about this? What about this?
Well, because...
What about this?
Because if Fahima doesn't go in the room, and it's Ugo or you or me or whomever, and we know that one of us has to die, it doesn't unlock the wish.
Yeah.
And then is that person gone?
Really dead. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. Honestly, I think if Civ went in there and they said one of you have to die, Civ would just be like, okay, we're leaving. Bye.
Interesting.
And everybody be like, why would we leave? We need to figure it out. It's like, I can't tell you that, but we're leaving. I talked to Lord Ereban. We're gone.
Wow.
You guys want to fight Lord Ereban and try to force it out of him? I'm game for that. But none of us are going to stick around and just randomly die to figure out one of these possible what ifs.
Right.
So it's probably a good thing Civ didn't go through.
Right. I don't know. I mean, well, and that's the other, that was a beautiful transition, is because I think what we learned is that there was a built-in mechanic that if we ever attacked or damaged Lord Ereban, we were immediately we got booted. We got booted from the chat. And
which
brings us to this moment.
Answers to our Patreon question. Good segue.
Thanks.
So was it Jessica that asked this question?
I think it got asked a couple times. Fail Waffle and somebody else.
Yeah. Lots of people on the Patreon asked why I had the Eldritch Blast diverted from the
that was
Intellect
specifically
Devourer
Fail Waffle's question
to Lord Ereban. Yes. The reason why I chose that specifically was because I had hoped that what actually happened was going to happen, but before the two other Eldritch Blasts went through. So the first Eldritch Blast gets diverted to Lord Ereban. All of a sudden, we all get booted. The other two Eldritch Blasts don't happen, right? They don't get triggered.
Oh, interesting.
Then the Intellect Devourer still gets to do its thing. This is all action economy, so ring reactions are actually going to go off. The Intellect Devourer still gets to do its thing, and Uggo still gets to forget about Braca. So that was the idea that I had behind that, and I knew that one Eldritch Blast wasn't going to kill Lord Ereban. No. So
true. Yeah. That's interesting. And you just hope they would boot the rest of us and not Uggo, and still allow Uggo to do his thing.
No, it would boot all of us.
Okay.
But I with the action economy, the reaction of you doing the Eldritch Blast was happening technically after the Intellect Devourer. So if the first Eldritch Blast boots us out, the Intellect Devourer still gets to do its action. Therefore, it still gets to erase the memories. Therefore, we get booted out. Therefore, he loses the memory of Braca.
Got it.
So that was my thinking behind that.
Fascinating.
Because I knew if I made myself large, which is a bonus action, and then I tried to wrap myself around Uggo and take the 3 Eldritch Blasts, I knew it was going to be easy for you to miss me, but still hit the Intellect Devourer.
Right.
So the only way to actually trigger that from happening is hit Lord Ereban with one of the Eldritch Blasts.
Right.
I love that rune, man.
It's great. Obviously, you've used it beautifully at least twice now.
Such a unique ability in 5th edition and in D&D in general, to be able to take an attack and move it to another target within 30 feet and literally just as a reaction. And it doesn't even have to make sense. Like, it could be a melee attack or a ranged attack. I just get to move it to somebody else.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've used it beautifully already.
Rune Knights are cool.
Rune Knights are cool. Kudos, wizards. Yeah. So let's dive into that moment, because that was a big moment, especially in the first half of the show. It was a very heated moment, and I think left us with a lot of questions. And I saw some very strong responses to it. I heard there were some very strong responses to it.
There's always very strong responses.
What, in our community? What?
Our watchers are emotional.
Very emotional people. Let's frame this in the way, because we have some patron questions specifically about this, and I want to make sure we answer these. Morgan from Jessica: why was James so against Civ and Uggo forgetting specific memories? Does he not think it is their right to choose? And Dr. Sparks asks, what did Civ want to erase from his memory, and what does James think about the current Civ dynamic with the team? Okay. Do you want to say specifically what you were going to forget, or do you want to hold that? Is that a secret room?
Well, I am doing it's not a secret room. I am going to do a cast secret about this.
Okay.
So I can say a little bit, but I don't want to say everything, because I think it makes for a very good cast secret, especially because it didn't actually happen in the show.
True.
So it's another one of those cast secrets where it's like, this is what might have happened, or this is what could have happened had I been able to roll higher than a 10, according to Jeff.
Right. That was amazing.
Brutal.
That was amazing.
But that's just the dice, the dice are deciding, the fate of the characters, as well they should.
Yeah.
So what I can tell you is this. Civ's thought process is that he feels that one of the reasons why Lily is unwilling to love him or commit to him completely is because of who he is and what he's done.
Oof.
He firmly believes at this point that that's got to be it. And even though Lily was trying to stop him and saying it's made you who you are, that just further cemented in my mind, Civ's mind, that that's what needed to change. He has literally, since the day that I created this character, day one, has not wanted to be Sivrak. He's wanted to erase that part of who he was.
I don't think we found out about Sivrak until episode 34.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there were secret rooms and shit that went down. Sorry for swearing. There was some secret room stuff that went down. It was pretty obvious to the watchers, I think, that very early on, Civ did not want to be Sivrak anymore. He wanted to be Civ Red Thistle. And he even asked Human Mama at one point,
Fail Waffle,
do you have
be nice to Lily?
Do you have any it's not Lily's fault.
No, no.
Do you have any spells that allow you to permanently forget things? And and Jeff kind of took a moment and was like, no, but why? And I was just like, just curious. And then that was the end of that moment. And I don't know if anybody in chat even remembers that moment because it was so brief, but that was kind of a foreshadowing, as a hint of, hey, I want to forget these things. Like, they still haunt me to this day. The reason why he was an alcoholic until recently, when I took Resilient Wisdom and decided that he was stronger than that now.
Oh, you did? Nice.
Yeah.
Good feat. Good feat.
I also was tired of Jeff just being like, and Civ's my character now, and I get to decide who he goes and attacks.
It happens so many
usually
times.
James.
It's usually James.
Yeah. So anyways, Resilient Wisdom, that's all taken care of. But the reason why he's an alcoholic, the reason why he wants to forget, the reason why he doesn't want to, remember those days, the reason why he left Olsvach, the reason why he tried to get the other people living in Olsvach to leave, and they eventually did. All of that has been since day one. Then we come across this Mind Flayer, Lord Ereban, who has this ability to selectively erase memories. Are you telling me, anyone out there in chat, you don't have memories in your head that you wish that you could just erase? Individual, specific, surgical removal. Nobody? I find it hard to believe that every human being in the world wouldn't have at least one memory, if they really thought about it, that they would want gone.
I think it's entirely, and this will get into how I felt about it and why I was against it. I think of course it's understandable, and of course it's attractive. And it actually, we didn't get time to deal with this, but
attractive, dude. If there was a booth, if my booth right here had the magical power to be able to erase a selective memory that you get to type in, I guarantee you, I would have a line out the door, and people would pay as much money as I want to ask for to have that service.
But you're also talking about what's at the basis of the story that we've been against the entire time, that Civ himself was against 2 episodes ago with the Quake Warden. That was why. So this is why. Everything that we've been
No. The Wardens have all of their memories erased. That is very different, my friend. Very different. We're talking about surgical,
but not how surgical specific. But how surgical can be anything, because that's a risk, and that's taking something. It's like we've said so many times that our mistakes, our experiences make us better, make us who we are. Our pain turns us into this, and so that, and I'll get into that with Ugo. But I'm also like, I don't care. I will disagree with Civ that being able to take out some part of him makes him a better person, because you have this knowledge now of what happened when that bad thing happened. And so
And it's a horrible knowledge.
I know.
And it haunts him.
I know.
And it makes him want to hurt people.
I understand.
And I think that's why when he saw Uggo go, I want to get rid of this, I enjoyed this. There was a moment there where I was like, yeah, Civ and Uggo, yeah, I get that. I see the trauma. I see the horror. You want to not only forget Braca, you want to forget all of the memories of all of the horrible things that you did that you either enjoyed then or you now want to repeat. It's all hypothetical because you can't actually erase your memories like, you know, in real life. But in a fantasy sense, I think it's a really elegant question that could be turned into a whole campaign, really.
Yeah. It is.
Our traumas that your character or you have suffered, are they really going to better you in the long run? Or could those traumas be triggered and reenacted?
I think that's a massive question. I will say that
I think there's a lot of people in jail right now that would gladly tell you, hey, erase those memories from when I was a kid and I got abused or whatever, and I would be a much better person right now. And there are ways to heal. There is therapy. There are ways to deal with those traumas.
This is also
but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work.
That's extremely sad and heartfelt, and I'm not trying to desensitize that and take away people's choice. I see a lot of people like saying, "Isn't this taking away free will?" And I'll get to that with Uggo because I had my reasons, but.
Well, he wanted you to stop him, which I didn't know.
He told. Neither did I. Neither did I. But this is what I will also say, though, is this has been the whole question of resetting that clock, resetting that 300 years, forgetting and just going backwards rather than pushing through, which has been the entire purpose of our story. So yeah, James was against it because I feel like everything we've learned is just by resetting, even if it's only part of it, not all of it. Going backwards is not the answer. Going through. Yes, we will all make mistakes. Sometimes we'll make catastrophic mistakes, but going through is the only way to heal. That's why. Now, when it comes to Uggo, taking away his choice, you can look at it that way. I guess that's a very gamey way to look at it. I look at it this way. If a friend of yours who you trust and you know they trust you, if you see them emotional, about to make what you think and what you think they would think is a massive mistake, you stop them. I saw someone reference it to be like, if a friend of mine's about to drunk drive, I take away their keys. It's a murky metaphor. I don't know if it applies totally in this case. But with Uggo, his literal last name is Truth Seeker. He worships a deity of truth. Uggo and James have multiple times had this conversation about we can't go back. We have to go forward.
We are all flawed characters.
We are
something that I think needs to be repeated, because a lot of people in Discord get emotional about this, which is great. I love the passion. Is that we all, as actors, from the get-go, decided that each of our characters has a flaw.
Yeah.
All of them do. Yeah. Even Lily. Lily is not perfect. Katie said that numerous times.
Right.
Nobody listens to her because we all think she's great.
Right.
But even Lily has a flaw.
Right.
And so I think something that keeps sneaking back in, that gets overlooked again and again and again, especially in situations like these, is that even though Uggo is a truth seeker, he also has this rage fist past.
Right.
Even though Civ wants to be a good person and a hero, he still has done all of these terrible things in his past.
Right.
Like, everybody has a flaw. Like, even, you know, I mean, James is obvious because he made a pact with
wears them literally on his face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would
it's not his only flaw, though, but yes.
No, well, I mean, we all have flaws. Yeah. And I think that's what makes this story interesting, but that also is what makes the characters interesting, because if we played perfect heroes, that gets boring very, very quickly.
Well, and it's the investment of the moment. So, I mean, like, that's... So, yes, did James step in and stop Uggo, take away his choice in that moment? Yeah. but I had my reasons, and I think and I thought I was seeing Uggo clearer than he was in that moment. Now, do I regret how it had to go down? A little bit. Could it have been cleaner? Yes. But however, stakes were high, and it was happening so fast. It was literally, and Dahlia practically dared him to do it, and I was like, new girl, be quiet for a second. That was a weird moment that we have not dealt with. And Dahlia's like, do it, fine. And I'm like, shut up. You know,
I think that was also like the reverse psychology approach, which does not work on Uggo.
Does not work on Uggo at all, because he rolled it immediately afterwards, and then suddenly so it was highest stakes, because before you blinked, the intellect devourer was there, and he's climbing on your friend, and I'm like, stop this, and. So was it neat and clean, and do I wish we could have had time to talk about it longer? Sure, but the stakes were extremely high, and I took the keys out of Uggo's hands. Yes, I did. And I would do it again. Now, is it clean and neat and, free will? No, it probably isn't. Yeah. But I put it to you that if your best friend was about to do that, you are maybe... I think that's a challenge, and basically it's negligent to not do something in that moment. Because I believe James was playing the truth of the moment more than just well, it's his choice. Let's just let him do whatever he wants.
Yeah, yes, I agree. But
I'm heated about this because I saw some of your reactions, folks.
I can tell. There is a huge difference between letting someone drive drunk and a made up fantasy game with a intellect devourer that's going to steal some old memories from an orc paladin. So I agree with you. I understand where you're coming from. And we found out later on that that's what Uggo actually wanted. He wanted us to stop him. He said that. So it was a good thing that you did that. I do still see the opposite side of that, where you also don't want to take away other players' choices, because nobody wants to play with that guy.
Yeah.
I've played with that guy. Yeah. It sucks.
Yeah.
You don't want to be in a game where you're like, I'm a thief. I'm going to sneak down this hall and steal this thing. And then the guy playing the paladin is like, well, that's not right. You can't do that. Stop that. Then you're telling somebody else that their fun is not allowed.
And I did have a moment.
I don't think that was this situation, though. I think this situation was very different than that.
I did have, and I will say, it bothered me to do it in the moment. The whole moment shook me a little bit. And we went to intermission shortly after, and I did have a quick check-in with Ron where I was like, that felt weird, dude. Are you okay? You know, I didn't love doing that. But it's that improvising thing where there's yes and sometimes yes anding is to acknowledge the circumstance. Sometimes the best way to yes and is to just acknowledge the circumstances your other players are putting in front of you, and to go, I reject that, you know, and I'm not saying no to your choice. I'm just saying that, like, I see your choice and I think it's a bad one, you know?
Yeah.
And I will say there's this angle as well, which is, with the stakes are so high, the world is at stake, like, things are going down. You could very well argue that Uggo is about to weaken himself mentally by taking some of these memories away. And again...
You mean like giving away all of his barbarian levels? You mean like that kind of weakness?
Right. For sure. For sure. We don't know. We also don't know, though, if that it definitely weakened Uggo, for sure. But we don't know. But there was also a way to say that strengthening Thorn is the best thing for the world. But yeah, I think it was a muddy, like, tense moment. It was, and it's one of these that we've had a lot of in the show, but I think it was coming out of, because we were all so invested in it. And I think as long as you know, and that it was the strong choices coming from just investment in the story and investment, you know, I don't know. So I like, if you want to have problems with James for that, that's your choice, but I'd do it again. because it felt very strongly to that Uggo was making a mistake, and it was all happening so fast that it needed some rash action. If I could have tried a persuasion check on the intellect devourer or on Lord Ereban, I would have, but we didn't have time.
Ron is in chat, and he said it was also a choice that his friend was in the middle of grief. His choice wasn't clear-headed.
That was very clear to me as well. Was that Uggo was in a very emotional place, and it seemed like I was able to see Uggo's. I was able to see Uggo clearer than he could see himself in that moment. Thank you, Barilistopad. That's very nice of you to say. But yes, so it was a tense moment, and I can't blame you if you felt strongly about it. I obviously felt strongly about it. I'm sorry if I shouted.
I think people feel strongly about both sides, and that just means that it's a good argument. Like it's a good conflict. If there's people that are equally passionate on both sides, that means that there's valid points on both sides.
Right.
Yeah.
Any other questions we need? Because
I was gonna say
let's hit more questions, and then we got to talk puzzle stuff.
David Jin Pro, some shades of the eternal sunshine of the spotless mind. Putting Ein safety aside, psychologically, are there memories the characters would like to forget? Yes, of course. And others that they really don't want to love? Of course. Would you want to do that in real life? Yes, I'm sure lots of people would. Or is learning to live with them the more functional? Yeah, I think we talked about that. So I feel like we've hit the majority of the questions. The only other thing that I noticed in here.
Yeah, that's not just a James thing. That's a Morgan thing too. It's why I struggle with questions of like, what's your greatest embarrassment? What's your greatest regret? I've got them, but I also try to come to a place of like, I learned very early on. My parents divorced when I was really young. And I went to like 8 different elementary schools, and I learned very early, but I also learned to go like, you're okay, Morgan, like pretty early on, that I was just sort of like, and you can't just extract things from yourself, to just say that like, this would make me a better person if this didn't happen. Everything's so connected, and everything it's the dominoes start to fall down everywhere. And so, I think that's the fun of fantasy and sci-fi, though. Right. Like the whole idea behind fantasy and sci-fi is you get to ask those questions, the what if questions. What if you could just selectively get rid of one memory? What if you could go back in time? What if you could teleport to a new world? Like that's sci-fi, that's fantasy, that's the genre. Well, and I mean, I'm someone who, I'm not a very religious person, and so I connect very strongly to the kind of stories or things where what makes us human, our soul, is often in our memories, and is all of this weird soup and cocktail in the middle of your head that has turned you into this person right now today. And if you start pulling at that, then who are you at the end? It's why I love Blade Runner. That's why, where it's like, if an android can think and has memories and all that, it's like, aren't they a human at that point? I think that's a fascinating question. At what point do they become human? Right. Yeah, I love that. I love that kind of stuff. So a lot of people in the chat are posting that the answer was confirmed in Discord, but that we're not supposed to talk about it. Okay, can Carson, I love you. I love you, man. I love you. I love the story. Thank you, everybody. I'm very happy we had this discussion today. I know, it gets tense during the show, and it's like walking a tightrope this show sometimes, because I think we're all so invested, and obviously some amazing things have come out of it. So thank you. Okay. All right. Yes, I'm hearing a lot of chatter that something is happening. So while we were talking about all this other stuff, Jeff just went into Discord and be like, "Hey, guess what? You were right. Congratulations." Wait a minute. Okay. Discord blew up. Wait a minute. Okay. Discord definitely blew up. All right. Well, then maybe we don't even need to go into the riddle. Do we talk about it, or do we save it for the show? I mean, Jeff and I also, this was not him giving anything away to me. Jeff and I were laughing, though. He's like, You know what doing this process has made me realize was all those scenes in the Batman movies when Batman solves the Riddler's puzzle and go, well, it's 100% obviously this. Are bullcrap. Because when they're really complex puzzles, there's always like 100 answers, and you could go, I guess this feels the most right, and then you just kind of guess. But every time Adam West has gone, silly Robin, the answer is obviously ice cream. You know, it's like that is not how riddles work.
Not at all.
Oh my goodness.
Wouldn't it be a fun twist though if the Riddler like knew 5 different answers to his own riddle, and then if Batman guesses any of them, he's like, well, I have to give it to him because technically that's a right answer. Like he's that anal. Like the Riddler is that much of a mastermind that he's, you know.
Ertinfert and the Riddler work very similarly in that way, right? Because I think there were a lot of the suggestions over this weekend. Some of them would be like, well, but what if we add in these letters and this is, and I was like, that feels like cheating. Like you had to go by your gut sometimes, where it's like, no, Ertinfert is the kind of guy, he's the kind of jerk that would give you all the pieces you needed and just put them in front of you and go, solve it, but you can't do it, you know, and that is what he's done. So I don't think I really resisted anything that felt too much like a rule break at the time. Boy, if we want the answer, they can have it. It's up to them. Okay. Are there any other questions from the Patreon before? Because I can go a little long today. I don't know about you, Jared. All right, let's make sure.
I feel like we should have had Jeff on the Cooldown today.
Not everybody was available. I don't think scheduling was really tough today. Okay. Logan Hill, is anyone in the puzzle chat close to the HOB's ideas? I mean, I've been in the puzzle chat a lot, so you've seen my ideas for sure. David Gen Pro, some shades of the eternal sunshine of the spotless mind, putting iron safety aside.
We did that.
We did that one. Yeah, okay, great.
Yeah, I think we got all the questions. The only other thing is, Dr. Sparks said, do you both think he is ready to detach away from the group once this adventure is over? Civ. And that's in reference to the James. What does James currently, the James Civ dynamic with the team? Yeah, because there have been some moments where Civ is like, all right, peace, and then just walks out the door. But I think there's a part of him where he's like, okay, let's go get this over with. Let's go get the warden and go to war, assuming that people are coming behind him. Now, right, if they choose not to, then so be it. But I don't think he walks out the room as a way of saying, I don't need you guys, or I don't want you in my life anymore. That's just his way of dealing with the conflict, is remove himself from the situation so that it doesn't turn into an Uggo James, head pounding battle.
Wait, Jeff, are you saying you can jump into this right now? Hang on.
Bring him on.
All right.
Bring him on.
Jeff, I'm sending you a link.
I feel like everyone wants to talk about the riddle, and we just need to do the riddle thing.
This is going to be super messy tech-wise, and so I'm going to have to ask people to give us a second. I will probably cut away to a screen. I'll cut away to a be right back screen, and we'll be right back. We're going to do this live. Somebody post in the Discord that we're about to do this.
There's so many people in the Discord posting right now.
Okay. All right, Jeff, the Zoom link is in your email, sir. Okay. I will say
this is the most action that the Discord has ever had, and I am here for it.
Popping off. I mean, our Discord's pretty busy. Our Discord is rarely a quiet place, which is one of the best things I love about it.
But this is like chat. I mean, it's just boom, 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 boom.
It has been like literally. You will wake up and go, "Oh man, East Coast and Europe have been at it since 4 a.m." All right. Okay, I'm gonna go to be right back, folks, and we'll be right back with one Jeff Cannata. 1 second. And we're back. This is gonna be fascinating. Give me a second. There's Jeff.
Oh, Jeff Inception.
And hang on. No. What are you doing? Nope, not that.
Thank you, the Carson.
Where am I? There I am. Okay. We're gonna make this happen. I apologize for the tech.
Morgan. It's just a sliver of Morgan.
This was the best tech I've done on a cooldown until this moment.
Trying to fit my face in.
I love it.
And now
just your eye. I want just Morgan's eye.
That's right. Doing it live. Okay. Oh, Hadrian X, dropping bits. Thank you so much. Guys,
you, Hadrian.
Talk amongst yourselves for a second.
I really enjoyed the character talk and talking about that moment. I thought that moment was really powerful, and
it was one of those beautiful moments where it was sort of about so much more than it was weirdly a microcosm of what the show is, or what this story has been about in a lot of ways.
I was rooting for you to make the DC 10, Jared. I feel like it had to have. I mean, Lord Airbender says, "Let the dice roll." It felt like it needed to have a chance of not being able to be successful, and I thought putting the DC at 10, especially with your force of good.
Yeah. Oh, that was that was incredible.
Yeah. You underestimate Civ's bad luck.
I apologize for the framing being a little strange, but this is what we are, because we got a last minute ad in of Jeff Cannata because he couldn't stay away. Jeff,
I was happy to stay away. If you want to stay away, I can log back off.
Okay. So Music Man 77 is saying, Jared, would Civ want to return and free Olsvach? Yes, of course. He just hasn't had the time to do it yet. Mm-hmm. And then Nikaiba at Cannata, Jeff, while we're waiting, Black Symbiote wanted to ask why Civ is blue. That is a secret that we will have to talk about later.
Yeah,
but we can do riddle stuff.
I always thought that is fascinating, because I did always think, I was like, wait, so he's just blue because he got frozen that one time? That always seemed kind of like a flimsy answer. So I'm happy to hear there's something else going on there, because I was like,
well, I mean, I wanted more of a reason for him becoming a Rune Knight than just the fact that I decided to multi-class. I think there needs to be more to it than that.
I love that. But everybody plays games differently, but especially for like when you're just trying to tell the story, just multi-classing to multi-class, it feels like it should be a bigger deal, bigger deal to suddenly.
It used to be. You used to have to like train and role play it out in old school D&D. If you wanted the multi-class, there had to be like some investment. You couldn't just take a level of fighter. You needed to like change.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Everybody,
let's talk riddle.
We did a hype train. Thanks, everybody. Everybody loves that Jeff has now joined us. Okay, so the anagram of Fardinald Ertinfert.
I feel so much pressure to keep my head in the box.
I know. It's okay. It's all right. I'm sorry. All right. So
first of all, I want to say a couple things.
Please get into it.
First of all, as you guys mentioned, it has been incredible to watch the community come together and the group mind and the support.
Could have done a whole show just on the riddle.
I mean,
it's incredible, and it's kind of like my wildest dreams, what I was hoping for.
I'm sure, and nightmares.
And did not expect that to actually happen that way. Sort of expected it all to be solved instantaneously. And in a way it was. We'll get to that. But the level of exploration and some of the, I am the only person on the planet that got to go on the ride in the way that I got to go on the ride.
I kind of hope you. I should have told you at some point to start taking vlogs that you'll show us. I should have.
That would have been a good idea. It was a wild experience knowing it and seeing people get close and then just abandon it or whatever. Also, as is invariably the case, better ideas than what I had, came up.
Isn't that always the case as a dungeon master? You come up with some kind of puzzle or riddle, and then the players come up with something that's just way cooler than what you thought of.
Yeah, and usually that's a gift. Usually you can just be like, yes, that's what I was planning all along, but not in this case. So it was really, really an exciting experience, and I'm grateful to everybody who participated in that thread. So thank you.
What I will say has been made obvious multiple times, but I'll just say it now here because you're here, which is that like it's become very obvious that this puzzle has been right in front of us since the very beginning. That Fardinald Ertinfert and when it just came back to maybe it's not an anagram, maybe it is. It was funny. There were some gut things, and I'm like, I remember a couple times in studio where Jeff would almost struggle to come up with say the name Fardinald Ertinfert when he wrote it. And so I'm like, it makes sense that it's an anagram. It makes sense that it's an anagram.
And not just a weird gnome name.
Because if I were going to create a name that I knew I'd probably have to say a lot, I'd probably make it a little easier on myself. So the fact that there was a gut feeling of like the fact that it's an anagram makes sense because the name is so weird. Well,
also, I don't know, maybe I'm weird, but I'm definitely weird, but the job of creating an anagram that doesn't sound like an anagram to me felt much more difficult than I expected. I
can imagine,
because you go, I guess Voldemort doesn't sound like an anagram. In retrospect, you're like, well, that's obvious, and maybe.
Well, don't you have to add "I'm not" or "I am Lord Voldemort" or something to like? I forget the last Harry Potter, but whatever.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
those books aren't very good. But anyway, so it's I found it to be harder to have something not stick out like a sore thumb. Maybe this did stick out like a sore thumb, but I thought for 3 years we all talked about this character and nobody suggested, hey, maybe the guy who loves puzzles name is a puzzle. And nobody suggested that.
Well, and one of my favorite parts,
choosing him to be a gnome is what I think sealed the deal, because it's so
goofy
classic D&D to have a weird goofy name when you're a gnome.
Well, and one of my favorite parts of the last 3 days, even though it's not directly related to the puzzle necessarily, has been those finding clips and finding parts that just dropping tiny hints. I mentioned the human mama moment of going like, oh yeah, I used to know him by another name. And you're like, what? And stuff like that. It just everything starts to feel like a clue at that point. Yeah. No, I know. Ron says I was convinced it was too obvious. Ron was on the train of it's gotta be just Ein. What if it's just Ein? And it was just kind of like, I don't know, dude. That feels like a long way to go for a super easy answer. I don't know. Okay. So
you guys still at this moment about 10 minutes ago, Discord solved it.
Okay. I haven't looked yet.
You guys have not looked at Discord, right, Jared? You're not currently looking at Discord, right?
I am, but I'm not looking at that section. I'm just laughing at other people's stuff.
Jared's just in the Civ section.
It's just nobody posts in the Civ section. Nobody.
That's not true.
That's not true. Everyone loves Civ. So I will tell you this, Morgan.
Yes.
You came up with the correct anagram before anyone else. I believe you are the person who came up with the correct
I can't take full credit, though. I did not come up with Enter Rift first. That was either Branded Nerd or gosh, I'm gonna go look back through it and give you proper credit, because I did not come up with Enter Rift first.
Didn't you say that somebody really early on got close? Isn't that what you were saying?
I'm going to say this on our episode too, because it's worth saying in the episode for folks that may not watch the Cooldown. But we finished the show at about midnight my time, and at 12:38 somebody posted the correct answer.
Wow!
No one recognized it as being the correct answer. It was just a wild guess. Wow. It wasn't based on the fact. I mean, it was just sort of a feeling.
Who is that person? We got to give them credit.
They are.
Whoa!
Because 38 minutes for an anagram.
Who else? Elliot says it was Elite Ninja 72.
Elite Ninja 72. Yeah.
Elite Ninja. Oh no, Elite Ninja was the one who posted enter Rift. Okay, I don't know.
No, that's not correct. Elite Ninja 72 posted the correct answer to the riddle.
Wow.
At 12:38, but it was quickly ignored, and they didn't come to it from all of the angles of solving it.
Just the anagram.
It was just like this feels like what it should be.
Right.
And
again,
nobody listened to that. It just kind of went off.
Again, just gut feelings of once enter Rift was locked in, then it was like add final R felt like such a, it felt commanding. It felt like there were other things where it was like land afraid, enter, or land frayed, enter Rift, stuff like that, where it's like, what does that mean? And I tried so many variations with ein, but the problem with ein is it takes out too many of your vowels and it left nothing afterwards. And you're like, no, it's not ein. Add something, so it was just sort of like add final R, just the letter
R. The question
R.
is to what? To
what? And so we are saying
what
right
is the
now.
Other given information? What's the other given information that we have?
The solution to the anagram is add final R, enter Rift. Now, okay, we're going to go back through this puzzle. Okay, or go back through this.
Given information. What have we got in front of us?
Just so you guys know, it's already 1:06.
I know.
Well, we won't spend much time on.
We got the map of ein, and we have all the letters. Right. Add final R. Add the letters. That doesn't make sense. Where you just add the letters to numbers of FINALR.
No,
that doesn't feel right.
So why would you need the map of ein?
Because there's a place on ein that.
No, I didn't give you the map. I just told you
he took away the
there.
places. He took away and it had no names on it.
So it's just ein itself then.
Correct.
Ein.
Okay.
To AINR.
So rain.
Ding ding ding.
AINR.
So
AINR.
What did you say, Jared?
Rain.
The word rain.
Now read the riddle again.
I don't have the riddle in front of me. Morgan does.
Hang on. Read the riddle again. I harnessed the storm and used its source. You can't get past this gate by force.
What? Okay.
I harnessed
the storm and used its source.
You can't get past
the storm warden.
Yes, but what is the word that Jared just said?
Rain.
Okay. I harnessed the storm and used its force. Source, I mean. Good, next stanza.
You can't get past this gate by force.
Right. Next stanza.
Whether or not you can get through.
What did you say? What was that worst word?
Weather.
Keep going.
Depends upon what next you do. My mind is what makes me the best. To pass this gate, just pass my test. Solve my puzzle, and the source will be delivered through my technology.
Okay, next stanza.
You'll never guess without the clue, which has always been in front of you. Are you smart enough to play my game? The answer's hidden in my name.
Okay, that's telling you about the anagram.
Final
Go ahead.
R. Okay. Afraid you're not as smart as me? Use your brain, and you need not be.
And you need not what?
Be.
Oh,
you jerk. Oh, use your brain, and you can take the B out from brain. I love you. I call you a jerk out of love. I jest, of course. You'll get it wrong, though the answer's been there all along. Beware when you enter the digits 3, for the ground will change precipitously.
What is that word?
Precipitation. Rain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Get it right, and you won't fall, but a single chance you've got is all.
You won't fall.
Okay.
Something else will.
But rain will fall.
You get it right.
What's been taken, you better know, or just like them, you'll drop below. Raindrops.
Mm-hmm.
There was so much talking about who the them are, but I thought the drow, I was like, could have been Baojai and Chomel. They dropped to the bottom of the deep reef. Just like them are raindrops. When the missing pieces are combined, you'll change the map and transform ein.
You're literally transforming the word ein.
Right.
The solution's key is who I am. You'll never solve my anagram. Answer falsely and it'll hurt, or I'm not Fardinald Ertinfert. All right, so
now we've got rain. What do we do with that?
Combine the letters into missing pieces are combined. We've got the numbers. What number is R?
I can tell you.
I don't have them in front of me.
I believe I do. Hang on.
A is 1, obviously.
Yeah. R is 18.
18.
We can just ask chat. They come up with it faster than we do.
1. I is
9.
9. 21.
And is 14.
34. No, it's 35. 0.
Nope. 18. 1.
28. I'm sorry. And 4. Oh,
nope.
You're right.
18.
1.
9. 9. 14.
42. You Douglas Adams jerk. I love you so much. The answer's 42.
I thought it had to be 3 digits.
042.
Okay.
Oh my God. Wow.
So the answer is always 42.
Wow. Oh my God.
Somebody guessed that too. Somebody said it's 42 as a joke.
That is so funny.
Discord.
I forget who it is. You know who you are. In the puzzle chat, someone was going precipitously, sounds like precipitation, like multiple times. And I didn't dismiss it. I just didn't know what to do with it. I was like, you're right, but I don't know what to do with it. Precipitously felt like such an interesting choice. That it was just sort of like, why the word precipitously? There's got to be simpler
you're dealing
words.
with like a crazy gnome Riddler guy, so using strange words still fits for the character.
It was you, Squid Bob Tentacle Pants. Mwah, well done. Okay.
So elite. So you're telling me that Elite Ninja got the anagram right,
correct?
But he didn't come up with.
No, he didn't get the anagram right. He didn't. He just said, "Boy, it just sounds like rain to me," and then it went on.
Oh, I see. Because he just saw all of the weather and dew and precipitously. Yeah. I see.
Woof.
Man, I still feel like Elite Ninja. I mean, man, I want to know who Elite Ninja is now.
I think Elite Ninja also said, it'd be funny if it was 42. A lot of people said it'd be funny if it was 42.
The real answers were dismissed a bunch of times. We just had to put it all together.
Wow.
Well, Elite Ninja 72, we owe you a t-shirt or something.
I mean, this has been...
Well, actually, I will tell you, JT Justice is the one who actually got there legitimately. I mean, not to take anything away from Elite Ninja, it was impressive, but JT Justice posted just a few minutes ago something about like the small letter B and then capital RAIN. And I thought, oh, they're signaling to me they got it right. They figured it out.
Yeah.
So and then JT Justice is the one that I think actually solved it.
That is so
without
tricky.
just guessing.
I mean, listen,
they're all being modest now. JT Justice is saying, well, it was a team effort. Everybody's being modest.
I mean, well done. It was, I mean, I was kind of trying to act as referee a little bit at some point, trying to direct us one way or another. Miko Oblique, I think it was doing a lot of work in there. Everybody, Brandon Nerd, I just can go back through all the names. There have been some late nighters with us as we've talked about, but well done.
I just love the fact that somebody got it right 38 minutes in, and then the deluge of like weird chaos that happened after that that just muddied the waters enough to where then nobody.
The other one of the lessons. It's one of the lessons I learned in this whole process is like Morgan, you were saying earlier. Batman would just talk himself out of the right answer. If there was a real Batman, he would just, or if there was a real Riddler, he would just talk himself out of the right answer. You know, he'd be like, "Oh, it sure sounds like it should be the Penguin, but I don't know."
The Riddler wants to be caught. That's it. That's the whole moral behind that is that all of the bad guys in Batman want to be busted by Batman.
Fail Waffle, you did help. Please, you did help. No,
everybody helped.
Everybody helped.
I know there was some discussion about it shouldn't be confirmed or whatever until the actual episode. That's not what this was about.
No,
that's not what this was about. This wasn't about are the heroes of Bingo going to get the right answer. It was how are we as a community going to do this together? And that's what happened, and that's what made it feels so fun to me, and hopefully fun for everybody.
I feel like because Elite Ninja got it and you let that go, you still gave everybody a chance to, to go through it and solve it.
Well,
so
and
you still let people have their fun.
We definitely we weren't stuck on it, but dial FR and enter Rift.
That was good.
I was so mad at myself for using the term dial.
That was good.
The fact that FR stood for could stand for Far
I
Realm.
didn't see that coming at all. I thought that was brilliant.
I said multiple times. I was like, if it's not that, it's a massive coincidence, and I guess it's a massive coincidence.
It is. It bummed me out that I didn't see that and didn't think of it and didn't anticipate it. I would never have used the word dial, but then I sort of thought, well, the fact that I used the word dial over and over and over again feels like he wouldn't have used it if that was the solution. He wouldn't have just given it to you. But anyway, it bummed me out because one of the things you have to do in doing an anagram like this is like making sure there's no other anagrams that are awesome. And I never got to dial FR.
I wish video existed of 2019 Jeff Cannata writing this puzzle, who looked very different from the Jeff Cannata in front of us. That sweet summer child 2019 Jeff Cannata, who had no idea what was in front of him.
Just had hours to work on anagrams, just all the time in the world.
All the time in the world. Just work. And someone asked, Mother Bear 63, how long did it take you to write this riddle?
Long time.
Long time.
I mean, and it's one of those things where it's like, I didn't know I was ever even going to get to it. It's just one of those things that's sort of like,
if we'd only done 10 episodes, there's no way.
No way. But you still would have had the anagram in place as a hidden, as basically a hidden Easter egg.
That's what you try to do, is you try to give yourself gifts for later if you can, right?
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
No, Miko Oblico says it too. What really blew my mind is that it was all planned. I think I can count on 2 fingers the number of things that I was like, no, Jeff couldn't have known that was going to happen. But everything else has been, from the very beginning, Jeff knew that. And maybe how we would get there would be different, how we would get to this lock at this moment. Oh, that's right. There was one time where I had to divert a stream that was like, what if it's 115? Because Jeff knew episode 115. And I was like, guys, I can guarantee you we did not know we were going to get to 115 episodes.
I wanted that to be the answer so bad. I was like, what if I had just planned it perfectly that 115 episodes?
So Jeff's like, this is what's going to happen. 3 years from now. 100, we're gonna hit 115, and I'm gonna plan it, and I'm gonna and it'll be it.
And there's gonna be a pandemic.
Yes,
cocky move.
People loved that solution for a minute, and I was like, guys, I don't want to ruin the fun of this, but I guarantee that was not the answer.
I'm hired for 10 episodes, and I'm gonna write a solution where the answer is 115 because I'm gonna nail that ending.
You're
on
gonna
the
give
dot.
me 115.
Boom.
That's a real Cannata move. No, I know. Well, and the fact that FR also nicely worked into a 3-digit number as well was jeez. I mean,
dial FR and enter Rift, I think, is actually a better anagram. FR. I just felt like I would never have just used FR as an abbreviation. That feels a bit like a cheat too.
Because as multiple people were, it did feel a little like a cheat, but there were so many things that felt like little cheats where it's like, why can't it be RF? And so it's like, well, FR does stand for Far Realm. And and Ron was like, when has he called it Far Realm? And I was like, I went back to episode 93, and Fesh says, which is the first time, Fesh puts a lot of emphasis, Far Realm.
No, it really is. Yeah, it really called the Far Realm. That's why I was so mad. And I was like, it works out too well. It does look like I was seeding that, but
you can outthink yourself into so many things. It is. Well,
you
incredible.
just can't anticipate what everybody else is going to come up with. That's 100 minds are better than my one dumb mind.
Fail Waffle was convinced it had something to do with DNA for a very long time. There was a lot of discussions about DNA and Ertinfert taking the blood from Ugo and Vahima, and I was like, but even though we know the atom, I don't think we know about DNA in the game. It was
a lot of people were very correct in in, you know, kind of coming at it from Ertinfert's motivation, which is not that he's doing a puzzle for the heroes of Bingle. He's doing he's the smartest man alive. Anybody that steps up to this thing is going to be able to solve it or not. Right. You don't have to have the specific life experience of the heroes of Bingle to solve this.
It's no proof that you're the smartest man alive if you're hiding clues from people.
Exactly.
You've got all the pieces I've got. I'm just better than you.
It has to be. Here's the 3 things you need.
Right.
And there you go. You know,
dude.
So, anyway.
All right. Well, we are way over. I know.
Yeah. Thanks for calling me in, guys. I started to crash the party, but I thought it was very fun.
Please.
Yeah. I'm sure people loved it.
Goodness gracious. While you're here, Jeff, no, I'm not going to ask you the question that we talked about earlier where we were saying it's like, what would happen if Fahima didn't go into...
Yeah, we don't have time for that.
We're going to get to it. Stay tuned for future Dungeon Cooldowns because we're going to talk about that question. All right. Is there anything else you want to say? I mean, episode 114 on Wednesday. I assume you're caught up if you're here right now, but are we going to go 6 hours on Wednesday? No, just kidding. Is James dead? James is in a massive explosion to end the episode. Not great, but we love you all. Thank you so much. We'll see you Wednesday night. Guys, am I forgetting anything else? Nope.
No, thanks everybody again for all the effort and fun we had in the puzzle room. That was great. Thank you. It was a great week for me.
Best community on the internet, baby. All right. And Jeff, take us out.
Humankind.
Be both.